Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the title, we are stepping into the world of Christmas palettes and I'm excited for it. I'm always excited when I get my hands on a new Odens palette. We have 4 palettes to dive into, so let's get into it. I just want to start off by saying these palettes were sent to me in PR. I have no obligation to post or anything like that, but it's Odens. And I really have loved all of the palettes I've tried from Odens this year. So I was excited when I got this in the mail. And I was like, I already knew I was going to film a video because, hello, I love me some Odens. First things first, there are 2 palettes that they are re-releasing that I think a lot of you are probably going to be very excited about. This was their holiday collection last year, and so many people were asking for them to bring these back, and they were like, we got you. We're bringing them back. All 4 of these palettes retail for $43.90. Weird price, but yeah, $43.90. I will say from previous Odens palettes that I've tried, I think they are well worth the money because you get so many different textures and finishes in Odens palettes. Let's dive into the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. This one is one of the re-released. This is the Christmas Eve palette. Now this is beautiful. Is it safe to say already that I think this might be my favorite color story out of all of them? I think it's beautiful and it's cool toned. So this is what the palette looks like. If you missed out on this palette last year, they brought it back to you. But as you can see, there's so many different textures. There's a multi-chrome. There's like the chunky shimmer. There's more metallic-y shades. This color story is so beautiful. I am wearing this on my eyes today, and I did do a look with all of these palettes. I wanted to make sure all the looks that I created are very easy, beginner friendly kind of looks, especially because a lot of these palettes have color in them. And if you're someone who doesn't really have much experience with color, I just want to show you that you still can create pretty wearable looks with all of these palettes. But look at this. It is so pretty. This is a multi-chrome. I don't know if you can see on camera, but it looks purple. Then when you shift it, it kind of looks blue. But then I'm wearing this shade all over my lid, but it looks kind of like orangey on camera, but if I like shift it a little bit, I also have this shade called Blue Star on my lid as well. But I really like the look that I created. I used 4 different shades to create this eye look, and I really love how it turned out. This color story is really beautiful. When I think Christmas Eve, I definitely don't think of this color story, but it's definitely giving more winter wonderland. The only shade this palette is missing is a white, but this color story is beautiful. I am honestly really happy that they brought this palette back because it's such a beautiful color story. This one's the Christmas Eve, and wow, look at this shade right here with the phone. That is stunning. This color story is so beautiful. Wow, look at that. That shade alone, obsessed. This shade as well, like what? Those 2 shades are just gorgeous. Like this palette, beautiful. I'm so happy that they brought this one back because it is really stunning. Even this shade right here, Snowflake. Wow. The other palette they brought back is the Merry Christmas palette. Now, this one is like your typical Christmas themed palette. This is what this one looks like. As you can see, you have your orange, your red, your green. This is just Christmas in a palette, and I think this is such a beautiful color story as well. I'm someone that loves to change my makeup with the seasons. This palette just makes it that much more easier for me. With this eye look, I went more Christmassy, of course. I really wanted to create kind of like a look that I would create on Christmas. I just think overall, if you want a true Christmas themed palette, this one's a beautiful one. You know, with this particular video, I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to film it just because from previous Odens palettes that I've tried, their formula is pretty consistent. It really doesn't come down to is the formula good, because no matter what palette you choose, the formula is going to be great across all of them. It really comes down to what color story is best for you if you had to choose just one palette to buy. So that was something I really wanted to keep in mind when I was filming this video. Also wanted to make sure I had eye looks using all the palettes just so you can see what kind of look you can create with these palettes. This is so pretty, very rich in tone compared to the other 2. This one has really beautiful, like cream-like shades. Wow, these shades are so glittery. They are so soft and so buttery. These shades are just Beautiful. Here's a little close-up of the palette. Really gorgeous. This literally screams Christmas in a palette. Truly. Now let's get into the two new palettes from this year. We have two really cute themed palettes. The first palette we're gonna dive into is called the Hey Reindeer palette. When I first saw this, I was like, what is this color story going to be like? Because the first two palettes I just showed you really screamed Christmas. They are Christmas in a palette, but this one, they kind of went a little bit different. Now, if you like pastels, I think you're gonna like this one. This is what the Hey Reindeer palette looks like. I'm gonna try to hold it like this so my camera doesn't wash it out, but this one is full of a lot of pastels with like a couple pops of color. You have like your yellow, your orange, this really pretty blue right here. Oh, it kind of looks silver. Some really beautiful shades and textures in all of these palettes, but this one is more for if you like color. This one's kind of like a more toned down version of a colorful palette. When I look at this palette, I don't really see Christmas, but I think overall it's a really cute color story if you love pastels. Some of the shade names which might help you get that Christmas feel, listen to some of these shade names. We have Christmas ham, mistletoe, cider, holly, Christmas stocking, presents, eggnog, greetings, sleigh, reindeer. Okay, so basically this is just like kind of like a mishmash of different Christmas things in this particular palette. This one's definitely not my favorite color story out of all of them. This is the Hey Reindeer palette. Look at these different shifts. They are so beautiful. With this palette, for me, I feel like the shimmers are where it shines, because look, like this one is the shimmer I used in my eye look, but just look at that. Like these shimmers are insane, and they have such a beautiful shift to them. Like this, look at this, and they just look wet on the eyes, but do you see like that duochrome shift from pink to yellow to gold? It is beautiful. I wanted to show you guys some of these shades because wow, look at that. Like they have chunky shades, but they have really cool shifts to them. And I love that about Odens Eye. I really do. And then the other new palette is the Snow Dream palette. Now this one is really, really cute. Now if you're a neutral lover, I think you're gonna really love this particular palette because this one is more of a toned down version of a neutral palette with pops of color. This is what this one looks like, and this one definitely does scream Christmas to me with, of course, a pop of purple. I feel like if you are more of the neutral toned lover, this one's probably going to be your favorite just because it is a more muted down version of the Christmas palette. Now let me compare the two for you just so you can see the two differences. Here we have the Christmas palette and then we have the Snow Dream palette. As you can see, the snow one is definitely a more muted down version. Snow Dream palette, and this one, oh my gosh, when I went to swatch this shade, I was like, is that a holographic shade? Look at this. That is holographic. You cannot tell me that that is not holographic. That is so stunning. I was so shocked that there was something like this in this palette. I don't have any other shade like this in my collection, so I just feel like, wow. Wow, just look at these shimmers. Like Odens Eye has one of my favorite indie brand formulas, and I just love all these different textures. Just look at that. Such a pretty color story. Very neutral, but still really pretty. Now, if you are just a collector of Odens Eye palettes and you already own these two, you might really be excited to add these two to your collection. But if you are the kind of person that's like, hold on, girl, that's 4 palettes. I don't need all 4. I need 1. Which one do you recommend picking up? If I was to rank all of these palettes, my number 1 would absolutely be the Christmas Eve palette. I just really love the blue tones in here. I feel like this is such a pretty palette because look at the purples. Like there's blue and purple in this palette, and I love putting those tones together. I definitely would say my second favorite is the Christmas palette. The Christmas palette is definitely number 2 for me. And then the Snow Dream palette is number 3. I do love this Christmas theme, and I do love that it's more toned down and more muted, which is really nice. And then number 4 would definitely be the Hey Reindeer palette. For me, just because I don't really wear pastels too often, And for the winter, I don't know if I would necessarily reach for pastels or reach for this palette over these three, but you honestly cannot go wrong with any of these palettes because the formula on all four of these is amazing. I did want to mention that the outside packaging is exactly the same as the palettes, just in case you like to throw away packaging. You're not really missing out on anything because it's exactly the same. Also with the new collection, they have these cute little scarves. I love when Odens does like these little scarves. They're so cute. And this one is like the reindeer one with the little reindeers on here. I don't know if it's like a scarf or like a tapestry, but it's so cute. Look at this. It's so cute. I love that. All four of these palettes will be available on November 10th. I will have everything down below in the description of all the information that you need to know. I do not have an affiliate code with Odens. Your girl can only hope. And I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.